So obviously all four of you are basically top world-class athletes that have been at the top or near the top in recent years. And I'm really curious like how basically everybody got there. That's obviously a really loaded question, but if there's something really that stands out to any of you that you would have done differently. So obviously, the world champion, was there something that when you were younger stopped you from making progress? And was there ever big speed bumps that got in the way for you to get to where you are now? And if there was, maybe you could tell like our viewers what you would have done differently getting over those hurdles. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think all the thing I've done since I'm young, I think it's a part of me and it's building me, and I'm reaching my goal because of I've done all these things before, I think. But for sure, the studies I've done, it took me a lot of time, so maybe I could have done less studies, but still it's super important, I think. So no, for now I will not change anything.
Change it.
No.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, for me too. Like have always been doing everything. So I've always been doing like a bit of wave and a bit of slalom and a bit of like big techno and R6, and also I started foiling very early. So I think like from a very young age I was doing a lot of the disciplines, because like it was so fun and it was like kind of the also the variety. I cannot say that word.
You got it.
Also the variety, I think it's very good to do all the different disciplines, and I really like that. But something that stopped me, I cannot really think of anything specific, really.
Okay. All right. That means it's your success story then. You don't have to worry about any regrets or anything like that. Then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. All right.
I think I've had times where I've been like really regretting the path that I was on, especially like academically. Like we didn't live anywhere near water at home. So there was like when I hit 14, 15, I had to stop with big techno because we just couldn't access the training. I just couldn't be competitive. And my parents turned around and they were like, you kind of need to get your school stuff out of the way, then you can go windsurfing. And at the time I was like, I just want to go windsurfing. I could be really, really good at this. And they were like, you need to get school and then you can go windsurfing.
Yeah.
And then it was the same with university, like the number of times I wanted to quit and just go windsurfing. And I did make it to the end. I don't know how, but we did make it to the end and I did graduate.
Yeah.
And like looking back now, I'm really grateful that I did and everything that I had to do at university. And I didn't necessarily appreciate it at the time, but when I finished, I was like, I've changed so much over that period from being at university that I really appreciate having gone. But a lot of the time when I was there, I really regretted being there and resented it a lot. But actually, I know now that it was a really good thing.
Yeah.
But I guess at the time, I was like...
Well, now, I mean, like you have that background, and I guess maybe like a life after windsurfing in a sense. It gives you a bit more stability, like, and you feel that. Okay, and I feel like maybe that adds some confidence in you when you're training too. It's okay, this is obviously my life right now, but I do have an out, I guess you could say, in a way.
Yeah, I work outside of windsurfing now, and which has been a massive thing as well for like taking the pressure away. Okay. Is that there's a lot less pressure now on getting results, having to win prize money to make it to the next event, because I have a stable income. Yeah. So it's more stressful because you have to work as well as windsurfing. Yeah. But it's less stressful because you know that every month you get this amount of money.
Well, I mean, like that's also a thing that I'm curious about too. Like what was your result last year again? You were second?
Second at IFCA and fourth in PWA.
Okay. All right. And so somebody with those quite good results, at least obviously you just said you still have to work. And so, I mean, what else do you feel like you need to do, or what else do you think you could do in order to make yourself, financially stable and not have to work? Like, is that even possible, really, right now for you, or?
I think it's possible.
Okay.
But the amount that you have to put in, like the amount of time you have to put into getting the sponsors to get to that stage, is the same as working. So it's not like some guys are fully sponsored. and you have tons of outside sponsors, but the time that they spend getting those sponsors, is equivalent to working. And then you have in my eyes, you have the pressure that if you don't get the results, or if you get an injury, that might be it. You never know whether you're going to get that same, like, if they're going to stay with you year on year. Whereas, and I think I had a pretty big wake-up call in 2020 with the concussion. I was off the water for 6 months. And when they first diagnosed it, they said it was going to be 2 weeks. And then as we kind of explored it a lot more, it was 6 months. And I think that for me was like, that could have been it. And you just never know, like one knock, and that could be it. That could be the end of windsurfing.
Yeah.
And
all the sponsors potentially gone right then.
You never
there
know.
too, and it's like, okay, where's my stability?
yeah.
Right.
So for me, I found that my performance has improved now that I know that there's no pressure to go and win money or perform and hit this mark. Like, who knows what's going to happen in a competition? You could do we had one event last year. If you got unlucky, you broke some equipment and you missed 3 races because you broke something, that's it. That could be the end of your season. You go from being a podium rider to the bottom.
Yeah. And that's your ranking for the
That
year.
could be everything gone. So I think for me, it's been like I like the stability. For me, that's my personality. I like the stability and the planning. So
that's pretty heavy. That's pretty heavy, for real. I mean, from another perspective, I think, so we have the 3 of you pretty much all in right now. Do you guys, are you studying? Do you have outside commitments outside of windsurfing right now?
No, well, I do clinics as well.
Yeah.
I want to do more clinics. As Sarah says, I work a lot to get more sponsors, so I'm working on my website, working on my social. And I don't think I spend that much time. That's a normal work, but it's still a lot of work. And yeah, I competed for winning. I want to win, so I want to go full in.
Yeah.
I don't want to have, not all the time, I want to have my mind just to compete. Like,
But that being
I want to
said-
have this pressure of, if you don't do it good, you are fucked up.
Yeah, no, for real.
So I want this pressure to push myself and train harder. Like, sometimes I'm in the water and I say like, oh, I don't want to do the last session, but it's my job, so I need to do it. So I go for the next session, and same to the gym, same for
Right
go
on.
every day.
I mean, and like you're saying, like social media, maybe it's not as much work, but it is still work, and it still can take you away a little bit from just that focus that is
Exactly.
windsurfing. But I guess
Yeah.
for everybody now, it's part of the game. Like almost everybody, I think, has to at least post a couple times a week or whatnot. And
that's what I work in.
yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, perfect.
So I work in brand social media,
Okay.
So-
Interesting. All right.
which is good because it moves, so I don't have to go to the office.
Yeah, I guess, you can work remotely. So I think that for a lot of people, I guess that's the secret too, right? If you can do do a job where you can be wherever you want, like Tenerife, then I guess it works well. But I think we have you two as well still on this question. So Marion, like, what are you doing outside of?
I'm doing also some coaching.
Yeah.
We opened a center with my brother last year in France, south of France. And so yeah, it took me some time, but I like it because sometimes it's good to do something else to be 100% when you come back to the training.
Yeah.
But most of the time I'm training and going to competition. So yeah, mostly I'm doing windsurfing. Yeah.
It's cool. So for the people that coach, because it's really similar for me as well, like that's my job. I'm a full-time coach as well. Are you thinking that that's going to be your life after windsurfing? Does that feel like something that feels like a nice fit?
Yeah, I think I
It
like
can work, yeah, 100%. Before being professional windsurfer, I used to coach in a kite and windsurf school, and I really like to give all my passion to other people because I really feel that it's coming back. So I really like it. Yes.
Okay. Cool. And yourself, you feel like it's something that's going to be a natural transition?
I'm building it
Yeah.
for
Okay.
later.
Helle, I mean, I don't know. Did you went to school already? I don't know.
Well, I finished like the. Did you stop? the like What's it called? Like
High school.
I finished high school, but I did not study anything at a university or anything like that. I went straight into windsurfing. So I'm on my first gap year, which I think will be several gap years, probably. But it's just because I want to go all in for this, and I see if I have to study in addition to this, I will not be able to do either of them very good. And I want to, like, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it good.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not studying at all. I'm more doing the same as Blanca, like trying to get sponsors and working with social media and stuff, and yeah.
And do you have an idea of what you could study and what do you like to study later?
I like writing. So if I would study something right now, it would be like something creative writing or something like that.
Oh,
or
you're
like
a creative person with your podcast as well.
Yeah.
I've listened to a few episodes and
Yeah.
they're really fun. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So,
Yeah, it's cool. I like those kind of projects which are more like creative,
okay.
like the podcast, for example. And
All right. So any interesting projects coming up from you?
yeah, but they're secret.
All right. The biggest one for me, I think, segueing into the training, so we really haven't talked about them. How are they going? Are you guys still friends on and off the water as well? No? Okay.
100% no.
Yeah.
Actually, with Sarah, I'm friend in the water, but I think I'm the only one that is my friend in the water.
Okay. Everybody else, you just like... So she's the only one that you're not really friends with? Like
I mean, I can say hello, like when I come, I say, hey, hi, but then in the
Okay.
course, when this starts.
Okay.
No, then
And so on the water, you hate everyone, pretty much, more or less.
not hate, but
She can be aggressive.
Okay, yeah. Maybe that's a strong word.
I
yeah.
turn off.
Yeah. Okay. Is there like? So I'm curious. Is there like shit talking on the water too? Like you guys are like bickering at each other or like saying like, "Yo, get the fuck out!" Like get the fuck
It
out.
can be a
When
bit of
some
screaming.
stupid things he's
Yeah.
doing, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I
Is,
think
who talks the most?
with Helle is shout the most.
Helle shouting the most.
I
Okay.
shout the most.
No,
We shout at each
Yes.
other. Yeah, true.
'Cause
But I
it's-
think because we're pushing each other.
yeah, but I don't know. With Marion, I push her or opposite, and then we are quiet. But
Is that true? Is that true? Is that true?
or
Okay.
I don't know,
Okay.
like, or I was like super close, and then you don't say anything. But with us, it's like,
Hey.
in a good way. But
Okay.
I'm normally just screaming when I'm like about to hit you, and I'm like, ah!
yeah, with Sarah is more friendly.
For you, it's the pre-crash screen. It's
I'm
just
the
like.
less friendliest
Okay.
person. Wow.
no.
I think we have really good battles though. Like
Yeah.
we're always just pushing each other that little bit further.
Okay.
So it's always good fun.
Do egos ever get in the way as well with for you? Like, do you feel like, okay, maybe somebody's getting better than me, so I don't want to talk to them as much? Does that kind of happen ever, or is it you guys pretty chill, pretty relaxed?
I mean, I'd say we're friends off the water, but we haven't managed to go for a coffee yet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've been trying for what, nearly a month now.
Yeah, always busy.
All right.
No, I feel like we are very friendly. I feel like.
Like we are training. And
Yeah, and also like when we were in Israel, we were like fighting for the first position, and even though we're fighting for the first position, we still have nice conversations, and like we're not like no, there's no bitching around. I feel.
I'll take your word for it.
There's quite a lot of respect as well. Like when someone else does well, even if you've had a really shit day, I think there's kind of like everyone will always just say, like, if someone's won a race, you always say well done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you might have had the worst day, but there's always, I don't know, I feel like everyone always makes that little bit of effort to just like kind of end it when we come to the beach and try not to kind of take it back, because we're a small group. Like the minute you start taking it off the water, it's a pretty small group, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think can very quickly become very complicated.
Yeah.
So I mean, you want that community to be strong. Like, I mean, that's, for instance, like you're choosing Tenerife as one of the main spots to train throughout the year, right? And so I think you probably want to make sure that those connections and that community is still stable at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
okay, that's good to
But
know.
I feel like actually because we are so few girls, we kind of care more for each other in a way. Because like I don't want to lose you girls. Like
you're going to be pretty isolated if you start making enemies. in this.
Exactly.
100%.
I mean, like, would you train anywhere else? Actually, just like shot in the dark. I don't know really anywhere else where people are pushing as hard as here.
In France, we have some training with the coach and everything.
Okay.
But that's
But
more
not in the
IQ,
winter.
no?
Also for slalom,
Also
we
for
have
slalom.
Okay.
some during the years, not
Okay.
every time, but
But it's more in the summer, no? Like at this time of,
we have in 2
in-
weeks in March.
but in like January, February, where else would you go? Like
Nowhere, but in
Yeah,
March I'm going
yeah.
to French training.
I
Okay,
guess
but yeah, I guess that's my question. So the winter here, like January, February, this is like, it seems like the spot.
Yeah,
It really does,
100%.
eh?
Like
Yeah.
everyone is
Okay.
here.
The
Like,
Yeah.
temperature is good, the wind normally is good.
Okay. Yeah. It's a weird winter, yeah, but
the winter is not.
it's super easy to go to the water and do a lot of hours.
And it's close also to Europe, so
Yeah.
that's and cheap.
I was looking desperately for anywhere outside of Europe with the whole like Brexit visa situation.
yeah.
There's nowhere.
Yeah.
Like we were looking at Cape Town, but Cape Town at that point wasn't viable. And there's a bit of a slalom scene down there, but it's like when the guys have holidays. So like end of December, January, you have like 3 weeks of good slalom training. And then after that, they all go back to work.
Yeah.
So like trying to find anywhere else to train with even some level, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting, yeah. I mean, like, obviously I know it's a great spot to be. Like, you don't need a car, you can walk wherever you want, and yeah, you can store your gear right beside the beach. But to hear that as well, this is kind of, it's almost like icing on the cake. Like, this is the spot. So
Medano is
interesting.
a small village also, so
Yeah.
you can find everything super close.
Yeah. Did y'all end up smashing out a session today in the end, or no? So who was on the water today? Anyone? Like IQ today, or okay? Is it almost always IQ right now for you? Or is
Yeah, it's too much IQ.
it, yeah.
Why are you doing so much IQ?
Because my coach is like, IQ. And I'm like,
Who is your coach?
magic.
But is he specifically just the IQ coach then?
What?
Maciek is just specifically the IQ coach, eh?
Yeah,
That's why he's pushing you to do IQ. It's normal.
exactly, but I want to do slalom too.
Yeah, so I mean, like, between the two, like, are you trying to do both, and you want to do both
Yeah.
for the entire?
I'm doing both because
Okay.
I want to go to the Olympics, but I also love the PWA and kind of the vibe in the PWA and the passion that people have for windsurfing there. So the thought now is to do both. I feel like now it's easy to combine it in a way, since both is foiling.
Yeah.
Or you can also go fin on a PWA, but I am choosing to only go with foil, even
Yeah.
though it's gonna be windy. Yeah.
I mean, like, so for everybody else too. I mean, do you have Olympic ambitions as well? And Sarah, Marion, like,
I'm doing a bit of IQ also.
you are, eh? Okay.
I quit this year with the IQ because I want to focus more in PVA.
Okay.
And as Helle says, it's more mainly foil, but there is a part that can be fin, and it's I'm not really good on it.
Okay.
So I feel that I need to train more on this condition, so I don't have time for everything.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to focus on do as better as I can. And for that I need to go fin as well. And I tried last year to do everything, but it's super hard to be competitive in high level in both disciplines.
Fair enough. Sarah?
Yeah, I think similar to Blanca, but I just made that decision a lot earlier. The British squad is incredibly competitive, and I think because only one person's going to get to go at the end, and we have like the bronze medalist from Tokyo, and then we had like this year at the Worlds, I think the girls came second and third, and that
Yeah.
was without Emma being back in the training group. So you've got like 3 world-class medalists in the training group. So if you're going to say, well, I'm going to do half the amount of training they're going to do, and I'm going to try and compete.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, those two different disciplines have 2 different groups of people in them now, almost, it seems like. And if you're trying to do both, I can see it being really difficult. But we do have people doing both, so.
Yeah, like it is difficult, but I also feel like it's so fun to combine it, because like if I do IQ a lot, I get a bit like tired of IQ. So then I can do foil slalom, and then I'm like the spark is there again.
Right.
And then when I get tired of foil slalom, I can go back to IQ. So I feel like
So
it's
maybe
also nice.
variety actually can kind of be helpful in a
You
sense.
can
And
learn a
that's
lot
when we go.
from IQ also. so-
Exactly. I feel like
But
you
in
learn-
France it's the same. It's a big big
Yeah.
team and lots of girls are super good, but it's a good training for PWA also.
So are you fighting a lot against some of the the French team for IQ as well? Like, are you training with them as well?
Yeah, we did some training last year, and in Lanzarote also we did some training with the girls, but it's getting harder with we are 8 girls and some are really good, like the world champ and the European champion is French. So.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, so I guess that leads into my next question for you girls. Like, what do you prefer? Obviously, Helle, we know that you prefer the foil, but what does everybody else prefer?
It's a tricky question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if I need to do 6 hours, I prefer the foil.
Yeah.
If I need to go in 30 knots, I prefer the fin.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah,
And,
I think I definitely prefer the fin, just for like the feeling you get when you're going fast in the waves and fighting. And I feel like at the minute, because maybe my level isn't there in the foil so much, but I feel like we can really fight with the fin, and you can get really close and like not contact, but like the battles you have on the fin, I don't think we're at that level yet with the foil where we feel confident to push in the same way.
Yeah.
And like we've had some really fun sessions where you know it's going to be tight, but you can take risks because one of them falls in. Like there was one jibe a couple of sessions ago, Blanca fell in and I was like, but you can move on the fin.
Yeah.
Whereas with the foil, I don't find that I can have the same like agility. So it's a lot harder to like, you don't want to push and put yourself in a position where you might injure someone.
Yeah. Well, we've
Whereas-
seen some nasty crashes the last like few weeks, I think, too, for sure. And I mean, have any of you been a part of those nasty crashes recently? I don't know.
Not recently, but
No.
Actually, the girls, we don't crash that much, no?
I've had my fair share in the past, but like crashing myself, not with other people.
Yeah.
And that's what stopped me on the Olympic campaign in the end,
Really?
was like too many crashes, I got a concussion,
Okay.
and then I had to take 6 months off,
Wow.
and it was just too far behind to like come back in.
Yeah.
And I realised there was way more to life than the Olympic program.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I mean, right now you're enjoying what you're doing with like kind of being more focused on the PWA program. And is there more variety for you guys as well outside of those two disciplines? Are you guys into wave sailing? Are you into freestyle even a little bit, or maybe even a little bit of winging? Is that kind of part of the program, just to kind of keep you guys entertained, or?
Yeah, I mean, I love wave sailing. It's a really nice part.
Sick. Okay.
You can learn a lot also, so that's super fun. I love it.
I also love wave sailing. I'm not good at it, but it's so fun. And there's also like the variety. I think it's so important to like sail on different equipment to like really get the feeling. And I think that also, I can learn a lot and it helps a lot too.
I mean, you have a world spot here, right? World-class spot here in Tenerife too. So I think it's probably adds a little bit to the the options that Marion has to offer, I guess, right? So.
For sure.
Although I've been here for 3 weeks and had one wave session, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, like I find that when it's windy, we're training.
Yeah.
So like it gets to the end of the day and you've done like 2, like on the weekend I ended up like one thing went wrong with my gear and I was like, such a shame I have to go wave sailing.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So-
So that was your one session, eh? It was, the kit broke. You're like, oh, well, I guess I gotta go wave sailing. I like that. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to re-rig something, so I might as well rig my wave gear.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I love the wave sailing. I love the winging as well, but I haven't winged since I got here.
Okay.
It's just been so much of the training that
Yeah.
there's just no time for anything else.
Fair enough. Well, like I said, if you have any ideas on some questions you might want to ask each other, we can wrap up with that. Otherwise, maybe we bring some of you back in for another interview later on. But I think that's most of it for me.
So you want to put a few more beers inside and then have another go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe 1 or 2 more beers, then we go again. Yeah, for real. So, yeah.